Hey, it's Quincy, Nate, and Austin. I introduced you guys today. And here we are after the second day of the round robin, heading into Saturday's elimination tournament at Bible Quiz Fellowship Nationals 2017 in Kansas City. For our spotlight quizzes, Nate, you want to share about your spotlight quiz briefly?
Yep, the quiz that I was talking about was earlier today. Obviously, it was between Moxie, Clay, and Warriors. And that particular spotlight quiz, I picked Moxie to win, Clay to get second, Warriors to get second, and Clay to get third. And as it turned out, that is what indeed happened again for me in the spotlight quizzes. Moxie.
Did you predict scores yesterday?
I did. I don't have them with me, but they were not entirely accurate. Moxie had 130 points in this quiz. Warriors had 60 and Clay had negative 50.
Ouch.
So I think Clay scored a little bit lower than I had predicted, but the other two scores were pretty close.
Nice. Well done. All right, Austin, how about yours? Plus out here we have a correction to make.
Yep, so starting with the correction from yesterday, I said that I got my prediction for Unashamed, Clay, and Accelerate correct, and that Accelerate won that quiz, which is what I predicted. The coach of Unashamed came up to me later and said, I watched your video, and actually we won that quiz. So I predicted it incorrectly, sorry Unashamed. I'll give you a little more credit in my predictions later here. So the Spotlight quiz I predicted for Friday was Riven by Faith and Redemption. I predicted that Riven would win that quiz. I think they've been dominant all tournament, and this quiz was another example of that. They did win, and so we're ready to see them on Saturday, see how they do.
Yeah, all right, my spotlight quiz for this past day, Friday, was Team World Gold, Clay, and CB Squared. Turned out to be a really close quiz, only 30 points separated third from first. So it was Team World Gold in third, Clay in second, CB Squared in first. I predicted Clay to win. So it just ended up being a little bit off there, but I think we said it would be a competitive quiz, and it was. I know Team World Gold had a great second half of the day. It's nice to see a team that I was on way back in the day doing well again. In fact, they beat by Faith today, which kind of was interesting to me, because I think the last time Team World Gold beat by Faith was when I was in 8th grade. So it's
that was
been
a long time ago.
That was a long time ago. Back in my day. All right. So anyway, we're gonna now run through the bracket, Saturday elimination bracket. We're gonna give you a little brief preview of each quiz. So I'm gonna start us off. The quiz that's gonna happen at 9:30 a.m. in Site 1 is Riven, Messengers, and Warriors. Now these are all pretty amazing teams, so anything can happen in this quiz. I noted that Messengers actually put up a lot of points for where they are seated in the bracket, so I think they have a good potential of kind of moving up in the bracket. And Warriors was real impressive working together as a team, as we discussed that before. And then you have the immense firepower of Riven, who scored over 1,000 points, more 1,000 points in the quizzes, more than the closest team to him. So you can't pick against Riven in this quiz, but I just want to point out in this tournament we know anything can happen.
Yes, absolutely.
Up to you, Nate.
All right. And on the second quiz of the day, this again will be at the 9:30 after the double bye for the teams in the top 9. I've got Moxie, Strive, and By Faith. It's the 2-8-5 matchup. And in this quiz, I have Moxie winning the quiz. They were number 2 seed going into the championship round. Actually, all three teams averaged right around the same amount of points, right around 240 points per quiz. So it should be a pretty close quiz as far as scoring goes. I just think Moxie has more of a balanced scoring attack. By Faith, again, they have the Kimball brothers, and they will carry the team. And I think Strive has some good scoring too, but I believe that Moxie will win this quiz.
Gotcha. For my quiz, I've got Revelation seated in 3rd, Clay seated in 4th, and Zealous in 9th. I'm going to pick Revelation for this quiz, but I think it's going to be up in the air a little bit because you've got Zealous, who has maybe a little bit of a lack of depth compared to those other two teams, but they have a really low error percentage. And then Clay, conversely, can get a lot of errors, but they have a lot of depth. So depending on what those two teams do, if Zealous can really capitalize on their low airs, or Clay can keep out of air trouble and get into their depth, then those could make it interesting. I'm going to go with Revelation, though. I think they've been pretty solid this tournament.
All right, so no shocks on our predictions yet, but we wouldn't be surprised to see some shocks. All right, next quiz we're going to talk about is at 9 o'clock, and it's Accelerate Titans and Fishermen. Accelerate from Summit, Titans from Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Fishermen from Iowa. Did I mess something up? No, they were just, my producer was looking at me and I thought I messed something up. So anyway, yes, I saw all these teams. They were impressive teams. I would not be surprised to see Titans move up on Saturday. They've got a lot of control in how they quiz and a lot of depth to the team. Accelerate is real prone to accelerating a little fast in their quizzing. They made more errors by 26 over anybody close to them in the tournament, but that's just because they're the kind of team that can dominate a quiz and get into it. So just want to remember that. And Fisherman's was an impressive team as well. I'm going to pick Titans to win this quiz.
All right, next up is the next quiz. We've got Sundown, Dead BC, and Third Day in the 11, 17, 14 matchup. The all-important matchup of the day, of course, is
Mac
11,
Powell's
17,
quizzing this
14.
year? Third Day?
Yes. Yeah, I think they.
That was my first thought.
I mean, I knew he went solo.
Well, I think it might have something to do with Luke chapter 24.
Oh, yeah.
I'm
The thief
not
on the
sure.
cross.
Yeah,
Okay.
that whole thing. But in this quiz, I picked Sundown to win. I think that they are the team to beat in this quiz. Well, actually, they're the team to win in this quiz because they average the most points between these three teams. I think they have a good 1-2 punch with Amber and Jacob on that team, and then Connor is a wild card. He can have a really good quiz, or he might not, depending on his timing of his jumps. So I picked Sundown to win that quiz. Dead BC to get second in this quiz. I think it'll be a little bit of an upset, and Third Day to get third.
Gotcha.
Ironically.
Yep, my quiz is CV Squared, seated in 12th, Unashamed seated in 13th, and Team World Gold seated in 18th. And I'm actually going to pick an upset here. I'm going to pick Unashamed, maybe apologize for my mistake before. I'm going to give them credit this time. And actually, the reason for that is I think they've got some more depth than CV Squared does. And I think that's going to serve them well on Saturday, and they'll probably move up in the bracket. CV will score some points, as will Team World Gold, but I think Unashamed is just going to have too many quizzers and get into their bonuses, which the other two teams are not going to be able to do.
All right, next I've got Resurrection in 19th, Alpha in 27th, and 9th Hour in 24th. 9th Hour from Family Life, Alpha from Summit, and Resurrection from Midland. These are all some real solid middle teams that will be able to do some jumping in the bracket. I think this will be a real competitive quiz. One of those quizzes you might not necessarily think of going to, but if you have a shot at going to a quiz like this, you're going to see some real competitive quizzing. I am actually going to go with Resurrection to win this quiz. I think they're kind of an overlooked team, but have a lot of depth to them. So even though they are the top seed, I feel like people might look past on this quiz, but I think they'll win it.
All right, next quiz is in Site 7. It's between Chosen, Redemption, and Seven Dwarves. And I'm going to pick Chosen to win this quiz. I think they're far and away the more superior team. They averaged more points than the other two teams. And actually, Redemption and Seven Dwarves averaged the exact same number of points for the round-robin schedule. So it's very possible that Redemption and Seven Dwarves might go to overtime in this quiz, deciding second and third. But I think Chosen will go ahead and win this one.
Gotcha. My next quiz here is Impact, seated in 21st, Spurs in 22nd, and Blizzard in 25th. Stick with the same trend. I'm going to pick the second lowest seeded team out of this quiz and go with Spurs to win it. I kind of wanted to pick Blizzard in 25th. I think they're going to make it interesting as well. Impact is a Summit team that's going to score a lot of points in any quiz, just like anything. I've just seen a couple of stars rising out of Spurs that I think are going to carry that quiz. Mercy Kaufman, for example. So we'll see how it goes, but that's my prediction.
Yeah, as a coach of a team in that quiz, I'm looking forward to that. It'll be a fun one. Good coaches, good quizzers, good times. Next quiz I've got is 28 Fireflies, 36 Avalanche, and 33 6 Months. And so we have a team from Badgerland, a team from Summit, and a team from Family Life. Once again, a bunch of real solid teams. Looking forward to some good quizzing there in that quiz. I'm going to take Avalanche to win this quiz. Even though they're the lowest seed in there, we quizzed with them, and they seemed like they had some good potential. They're able to kind of keep their errors down a little bit, and so if they can do that and pull out some depth out of their quizzers, I think they'll be able to pull that one off.
All right, and the next quiz I have in Site 10 here is the 29, 35, and 32 matchup, and those teams are Impossible. That's the name of the team. Impossible, Believers, and Ultimate Sacrifice, aka us.
Yeah, good to clarify.
Yes, not us, but Ultimate Sacrifice. Impossible's from Summit, Believers is from Midland, and Ultimate Sacrifice is from Colorado this year.
Great to have them back.
Yep, it's great to see them. It's been a little while since we've had them around, so I'm glad to see them. I think they were doing some things in Colorado last year, but it's good to have them quizzing again. I'm going to pick Summit to win, Impossible to win this quiz. I don't think it's impossible for them to win. I think it's very possible for Impossible to win this quiz. Believers, I believe, will get second in this quiz, and us will get third.
I was waiting for what you were going to come up before with that one.
He petered out.
Well, you know us. We're
Okay.
good at
Okay,
puns.
moving on. Next quiz, we've got the Republic seated in 30th, Citizens 31st, and Sealed in 34th. As much as Nate would like me to pick the Republic, I gotta go with Citizens in this quiz, and this might be off some impressions that I've gotten of them that maybe is a small sample size. But when I saw Citizens quiz, they were really solid. They had some quizzers who stood out, scored 80 points in the quizzes. They kept the errors low. Conversely, Republic can score a lot of points, but they can really get a lot of errors. Those would be the two favorites of the quiz, but Sealed is only a couple spots behind them. So we get into an error quiz, depending on the quiz master, Sealed could be right up there. I'm going to pick Citizens to win that quiz.
All right, then I've got Astonished, 37th, 45th Legacy, and 42nd Deliverance. Quiz with all these teams. Enjoyed quizzing with them. I think you'll see some of these guys kind of figure things out on Saturday. It's tough when you're kind of new to quizzing the first couple days. You kind of see some teams that'll run roughshod over you.
Mm-hmm.
And then Saturday you kind of wake up and say, hey, I studied, I can answer some stuff. So that's what's going to happen there. I really think Astonished is underseeded for what I experienced from them, so I think they'll have a chance to run away with this quiz. But I think that Deliverance and Legacy will start to answer some and build on that for the coming quizzes.
All right, in Lucky Site 13, we have a quiz between the 38th, 44th, and 41st seeds. That's Squirrels, the Doctor, and Little Flock, respectively. Squirrels is the team from NCO, and the Doctor is from Minnesota, Wisconsin TFC, and Little Flock is also from Minnesota, Wisconsin TFC. In this quiz, I'm going to go with a little bit of an upset and pick the Doctor. I know Kevin Geppert's the coach of that team. He's really getting his kids in, jumping quickly, scoring points. I think their numbers are a little bit low because they jumped a lot, they were aggressive, and they probably got a lot of errors, and they didn't end up with a lot of high averages for their team scores. But I think in this type of a quiz, they should be able to score enough points to win, and I'm going to pick Squirrels to get second in this quiz. I think Valerie's coaching that team this year. She's going to get on them to get some questions right, and I think Little Flock will take third in this quiz.
Gotcha. And our last quiz of the day is going to be 39th, 40th, and 43rd. That's Valiant, Round, and Desperados. Round, as we recall, beat Moxie and Accelerate. So there's a lot of people going to be thinking that they're going to win this quiz. Desperados in 43rd has had some shining moments. I've seen them in practice as well. So this is going to be a good quiz to watch. Fun quiz. I think all of these quizzers are going to have a great time quizzing each other. I'm going to pick Valiant, seated in 39th. I guess maybe the favorite. I've seen them really buckle down a lot, I think, in the last few weeks of studying and stuff, and come together as a team. And I expect them definitely to move up to maybe 35th or 30th for the day for Saturday. So I'm going to pick them to start that off by winning this quiz.
Yeah, all right. Well, so just a couple of brief takeaways to think about for tomorrow, maybe a little prediction or something. So I would start off just by saying I look to see there's a couple teams that stand out to me as teams that have the potential to move up. I think Team World Gold, if you look at their second half of the day today especially, they got, I think, between the quiz before lunch and after lunch, they got 5 first.
Mhm.
And I think that they've kind of been able to gel together in this tournament. So being an 18th, I think they have potential to get in the top third. I also think that us, as in what is it? Sacrifice?
Ultimate
sacrifice.
Ultimate!
I was definitely seeing some gelling going on there, so I really think they've got the potential to go up about 10 spots. So that's my thought there. I think that we have a lot of parity in this quizzing. One thing to remember if you're a quizzer and your team goes down or your team goes up is that a lot of it's going to depend on Quizmasters, on matchups between quizzers and the quiz. You can't let it get you down. Everybody's done an immense amount of work. There's some amazing quizzers on teams all over this tournament, and you need to hold on to that no matter what happens.
Well, my takeaway from this first couple days is watch out for Zealous. I think they have a real good shot at getting in there. I know right now they're in the top 10, I believe, as far as the rankings go. They're seated at 9th right now, and so that gives them the double bye, which is always advantageous for those teams to have. I think with their ability to not error as much, they only had 102 errors for the 2 days so far, and that is
Right around 5 errors a quiz.
Yep, and as I was saying other days, that's about what they do. They don't get errors, and if they continue that tomorrow against the top teams, and they have Hannah and Keenan and Joshua leading the way, I think they have a really good shot at advancing and maybe even making the championship. I think this might be a breakout year for them. They've come relatively close the last couple of years, and they're a new group, but I think that one team to watch for is Zealous to see how they do at the end of the day tomorrow.
Well, my takeaway is a lot of years you'll see a team that just looks totally unbeatable. Maybe even 2 teams. I think in 2015, Revelation won all but 1 quiz, got second. In 2012, they did the same thing. And in 2009, Ribbon did go undefeated in the round robin. So that happens some years. This year, my takeaway is that there is no team that looks unbeatable. You can see flaws in even Ribbon and Rev and Clay and By Faith and all of those teams, Moxie as well. They have their flaws. And I think all of those teams have gotten 3, 4 seconds and thirds. I think all of them have taken all of the top 5 teams have taken a third, I think, in this tournament. So what that says is that anything can happen tomorrow. Look for teams to move way up in the bracket. And that also means that teams are going to move way down in the bracket too to fill those spots. So we'll see what happens, but there's a lot of opportunity for teams to do very well tomorrow, I believe. So that's my takeaway.
Great. All right. Wrap it up with meme of the day.
Yeah, I decided to go with one that I actually saw floating around the other day in Site 1 of all places. And it was on Thursday I saw it, and it just happened to be a meme that, funny, I believe I came up with a couple of years ago, and I was not the one who distributed it, so whoever did, I'm going to find you and
Copyright.
and thank you for doing that, because that was pretty cool what you did. But the meme is, made it up to Site 1, and then under it says, it was Thursday afternoon.
You know what? That's kind of an encouraging thing. You know, even if you don't even sniff Site 1 on Saturday, you can be like, hey, Thursday, I was there. What's the big deal, dude?
Yeah.
What's the big deal, Revelation?
Everybody can do it.
I've been there. I'm on Blizzard. I've been there. I'm on Republic. I've been there.
Yeah, quick little story. I was telling my team the other day that we made it up to Site 1 on Thursday, and we were quizzing Ribbon. I told them, well, this year there's a special deal. There's a window quiz on Thursday, and if we win this quiz against Ribbon, we're in the championship. And then on Friday there's another window quiz, and the team that wins that quiz gets into the championship. And then Saturday there's only 1 window quiz left, and so that'll be the 3rd team. So I was telling my team, guys, we got to beat Ribbon. A couple of them were, thinking maybe I was right about it, but then I eventually told them, no, that's not how it works. Fun little story.
And what the ending of the story is, you guys beat Ribbon.
It was close in the first.
So that's
Yeah.
how they always make the championship.
Yeah, they found
They found the loophole.
Oh, that explains it. I mean, clearly it's a loophole that's getting them in. Because,
Darn.
I mean, we don't have a lot of chapter coverage
Nope.
or that kind of
Nope.
stuff, you know. All right. Well, we love you guys from Ribbon all the way down to Legacy, and so we'll look forward to a great day quizzing tomorrow.
Have fun.
Yeah.